Okay, when you are finished with your design, and actually quite often while you're designing, you need to keep an eye on these things as well. You need to make sure that your design is in good shape for sending to a printer. That's called preflighting. And there's certain things you need to check. So the first thing is your bleed. You need to make sure that your document has a bleed, which means that when it goes to the printer, when it gets printed and trimmed, there's no little white edges where the trim blade is moved a little bit. So all your colors that touch the edge of the page should bleed off by a few millimeters. So this document has no bleed at the moment, so I'm going to go to Document Setup, and I'm going to set it, because it's quite a big poster, I'm actually going to set the bleed up to 5 millimeters. That might be too much. Again, talk to your printer, because your printer might say I only need a 2 millimeter bleed, but I'm going to go for 5 millimeters because it's also more visible here. And then what you need to do is you need to go through all your artwork and make sure that it bleeds out to that line. So it's no good putting in a bleed line and then not bleeding your artwork out there. Now, there is an AI feature in Illustrator here. I have not explored it. I think it requires special credits on your AI tokens or whatever. So I'm not going to look at that. I'm going to do this manually. So I'm going to speed it up a bit in the video, but basically I'm going around the edges, making sure anything that touches the edge that is not white bleeds to the red line. Okay, for the sake of keeping this video as short as possible, I have done a pretty bad job of this, but if you take your time, you make sure anything that is going to the edge, that in other words the black line, bleeds to the red line, so it's properly bleeding. So that's the first thing. The next thing is check your color mode. So if I look up here, I can see this is an RGB document. So I need to change that. So File, Document Color Mode, CMYK. So that's process color. Then I need to check my colors, make sure I don't have any colors that are illegal for CMYK or process printing. So I'm going to go to Window, Separations Preview, and Overprint Preview. And you can see, yes, I do. I have a scarlet color here. So if I hide all of these, I can see, there's a color here that is not process, so I need to change that. So I'm going to leave that open, and I'm going to go here and find that color. There it is. I can see it's a spot color because it's got a little spot on it. I'm going to double click, and I'm going to say let's make that process, and OK. And you'll see now I do not have any spot colors here, so everything is processed. So that's the next thing you need to check, is that all your colors are processed colors. Then you need to check for overset text. So in this particular document, all the text is fitting in here. There's no text that's not fitting into its box. So this is fine. There's no overset text here. Then convert text to outline. So you generally want to do this, but always keep an editable version for yourself, because you don't want your text to not come out the way that you designed it. So you want it to be baked down into shapes. So I'm just going to go to Select, Object, All Text Objects. And I'll take my list out of that equation. And then I'm going to go to Type, Create Outlines. So now all the text is shapes and not actual live text. So that's converting text to outlines. Then you need to check your images to make sure that they're embedded and that they are CMYK. So if I take, there's only one image here, it's this one here. I'm going to go to Window, Links, and this is where I can see information. So this little arrow here, information on this image. So I can see this image is a pixel per inch value of 166. In other words, it's been scaled up, which is not a good thing. You want your image resolution to match the resolution of the document so that there's no quality issues. So I'm just going to zoom in a bit here and watch what happens when I bring the scale of this image down. That goes up. So I want to get as close to 300 as I can. Okay, whoa, that was lucky. So exactly 300 pixels per inch. So this image is now optimal for printing because it's at 300 pixels per inch. You should also be able to check that your image is CMYK and not RGB, but it's not that serious because when you convert to PDF, it's going to handle that for you. Okay, so that's images, checking images. Then, and checking image resolution, then expand the appearance of effects. So if you've got any kind of effects, so for example, this line here is actually a path with a profile on it. Try and expand those. In other words, flatten them or bake them down to shapes. It's safe to do that. So with it selected, I'm going to say Object, Expand Appearance. So this is now a shape instead of a path. Okay, so that's expanding appearance. Safe margins. So this is not necessarily a rule, it's just a guide. So try and make sure that you haven't got stuff that's too close. So you don't want stuff that's too close to the edge, especially text and things like these logos, and that you want to have some kind of safe margin around here. Now, if I was super organized, I would actually put in guides for margins so that I can follow an organized approach. I think this is fairly good. So you can see nothing really important is going over into the edges there. But if I was setting up this document for myself for a new design job, I would put in the margins before I started designing. And then we have something called cleanup. So what can happen when you're working in Illustrator is that as you are creating stuff, you might accidentally create stuff that you can't see and that you need to get rid of. So the best way to check for that is to go to View, Outline. And I can see there is a box here that has no fill and no stroke. There's also a line here that has no fill and no stroke. But if I did something like this, if I clicked to make some text, you can see that it's just made an empty text frame there. So all of those things are things that you want to get rid of. You don't want them to mess around with your printed job. So I'm going to go back to Preview, and I'm going to go to Object, Path, Cleanup. And I want to clean up stray points, unpainted objects, and empty text paths, and say OK. And now if I go back here, you'll see those things are gone. So that's just a polite thing to do before you send a job to the printer. And once you've got this done, you're going to save a version that's ready for converting for a printer. And then generally speaking these days, you're not going to send the printer your Illustrator file, you're going to send a PDF. So you're going to go File, Save As, and I'm just going to put it on my desktop, and I'll say flattened vectors. Okay, so that's my print design, and then I'm going to go back. So I'll just say, okay, that's my Illustrator file. Then back here, Save As, PDF, and then I'll say Save. And here you can choose. I mean, PDFX4 is supported by most printers these days. The most safest is, or the safest is PDFX 1A 2001, but most printers will support PDFX4 these days, which supports transparency. Then what you want to do is go to marks and bleeds. I normally just put all printers marks on and use document bleed settings. Talk to your printer though. Some printers don't like you doing this, but I normally just do that. And then save PDF. And if I go and have a look for that document now, you will see that I have a PDF with my printer's marks, my crop marks, and all of the good stuff there. This is ready for to be sent to a printer now. So that's preparing a job for print. So if you're looking at a packaging job, there are a few extra steps that you need to follow. So the same things as for the print job, but so for example, bleed, but there's a few other things as well. So first of all, let's deal with the bleed. So we need, and you'll see that I've actually split things nicely into layers. So if I go to my background here, that's that gray shape. I need to bleed that a couple of millimeters because this is going to be cut with a die cut. And the die cut is going to need the colors to bleed out a little bit. So I'm going to select that shape. That's this one here, that shape. and I'm going to expand it a little bit. So I'm going to go to Effect, Path, Offset Path, and I'll just set it offset it by 2 millimeters. Okay. Then I need a die cut layer. So you'll see here, I've set this up in advance. Here's the die cut layer. Let me shut off everything else so you can see what's going on. And what the die cut layer is a special layer that the printer will take and send off to have a special die blade cut and put together so that it can cut exactly the packaging. So you need to make sure that you identify this in your Illustrator document. So I've made it a bright magenta color. Some people use a special spot color. So you will say to the printer, okay, the die cut is in a layer called die cut and it is magenta. Then I've got a layer for folds, and you'll see that I've just made them dotted lines. Talk to your printer and say I've made the fold lines in a dotted magenta. The printer will then know that's where it needs to be scored. And if there's any glue to be applied, you don't have to do this, but I normally do, is I put in a special layer for glue and I identify where the glue is going to go as well. So those are all there, but they're underneath my background, so they're not interfering with that. And then on top of that, I have my design and all of this stuff here. Now, everything else is the same in terms of pre-flighting. Check for spot colors. So if I go and have a look here, I can see there's a spot color. I'm going to turn it into process. Check that the document is CMYK. So there we go. Check for overset text. So here we have some overset text. I can see from the little red box that it's overset. I'm going to double click on this hanging box to make sure it's not overset. What else do we need to check for? Convert text to outlines. So let's make sure all layers are unlocked, and then select object, all text objects. Let me remove that from it, and then type create outlines. Okay, so that's convert text to outlines. Check image linking, embedding, CMYK, and image resolution. Well, there are no images here, so we're good for that. Expanding appearance of effects. I don't think we've got any effects applied here. Safe margins, we're good with that. Cleanup, I don't think there's anything to clean up, but let's make sure. Path, cleanup, okay. Then we've got our die cut layer, our folds layer, our glue layer, and then we're going to output this. I would say talk to your printer, because your printer is going to need these layers, so they're probably going to need your Illustrator file, but you can output to a PDF with layers. So I'm just going to save as, and I'll go and put it in that flattened vectors, and I'll say packaging design as an AI file, and then I'll go back and save as, and I'll choose PDF, but this time I'm going to make sure that I choose this option. No, Illustrator default. So that's going to save my layers. But once again, talk to your printer. It depends on how your printer works. And therefore, when you open this PDF, you'll be able to see the layers as well. But most likely your printer is going to say, I need the Illustrator file. So that's a little bit different. How do you prepare packaging as opposed to a normal print design?